And I'm gonna count again. Again, sorry. And I'm gonna plug in my laptop. Seventeen. A beer, where did the beer go? A beer stepped out. A beer is 18. He's here. His stuff is here. But a beer must have stepped out.
Seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16.
No, I'll go with.
You can accept it.
And a beer is 17.
17. Did you?
Evelyn.
Oh, yeah, I counted Evelyn. Thomas is an alternate. Evelyn is a guest. Okay. So we are biding our time until we get to 19. And I have a few friendly, stern words about attendance in my chair's report. Oh, wait, got it. Let's see. You're right, though.
Oh, they were there. You know, we will this week.
Then.
Yes. It was weird. I always yeah, the weird today was, I would assume that's tomorrow. No.
So, oh, yes.
Neuroscience. Well, neuroscience is so it's not.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So, right. Anybody else know any senators? And again, thank you. Yes, Lisa, maybe Lisa's on her way over to the C building. Poor Lisa having to hustle on a cold sidewalk, all that ways. So there's at least one person coming. Rochelle, did you check with John?
Yeah, he's on a he's in a meeting, but I'm gonna see what I can do. He's on yeah.
So let me look at where I'm gonna business and technology.
Yeah.
Does anyone have Erica's contact information? Erica? I do. So I have her. Okay.
I think so. I mean,
So we need one more. I know Lisa's coming to the C building. It might take her a little while.
Randy's on his way. He said he's almost there.
Okay, nice to meet you. I hope you feel better. Thank you for being on Zoom.
All right, no problem.
Hello, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're here.
First, it's just.
Okay, we are getting there. John's in here already. The committee members of the students and chairs. I'm not gonna try to have anyone else. That's too long. Patricia is here, but she doesn't help. Thank you for being, we're waiting on quorum. Well, you don't help with quorum, help with moral support.
Well, I would assume that it's fine. Yeah, they put, I like that.
Can you all at home see, is the owl on? Oh, no, it's not.
I'm sure.
Now we can see the room.
Okay.
No, it was a big one for a long time.
Great. I can't see.
Yeah.
So you should see, you can see from the camera in my, on my laptop. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, we can see it.
Got it. I see it.
Yes. Well, there's some metrics, but some of the words though.
This is not.
Always my curiosity.
As soon as Randy gets here, as soon as Lisa gets here, we can go. Do you know where the other students are?
Here?
The other students who are not in the room? No? Okay. And I know that Portia is on line. Jill, we're good on attendance?
Yeah, I'm here.
Thank you, Portia. Attendance is good. We're just now waiting for a couple people to run from the C building, which I think they will deserve a round of applause when they arrive.
Well, they give you the law report, so it has words and everything. Yeah, interpretation, but yeah, it's either you're good or you're dead. It's not gonna be more. Yeah. Never.
And there are.
Everything is great.
Send it to my.
Welcome.
That's really-
Randy's here.
Randy, thank you so much for, I didn't applaud. Thank you for being here. We. Now. Right, I'm calling the meeting to order. Meeting called to order. Patricia and Evelyn, the meeting is called to order at last. Only 25 minutes late. Please conduct your business later. And Jill, have you noted the time? Great. All right. First item of business is to approve the agenda. I need a motion. Sabine moves to approve the agenda. Margaret seconds. And all in favor? Aye. Sabine moved to approve the agenda. Margaret seconded. Next item of business, well, the agenda is approved. Next item of business is approval of 2 sets of minutes. Minutes from October 25th and minutes from November 8th. I have already had some corrections. Thank you, Anthony, for those minutes, including the spelling of Anthony's last name, including the correct numbering of repeated elections, of ballots, including most significantly in the agenda or in the minutes for October 25th. It should have said we approved 2 sets of minutes. The minutes from September 25th and then, or September 13th, I can't remember, and the minutes from October 11th special session. So I have made those corrections. Are there any other corrections to the minutes? Those 2 sets of minutes. 1 minute at a time. Thank you, mentor parliamentarian and others. So let's do October 25th. The minutes for October 25th.
You noted my change about denomination too.
Yes,
Yeah.
also. Jamie never nominated herself or anything. I don't know who nominated her. I made it, she nominated herself. She was elected to the executive committee without being nominated. So that correction has been made. And welcome, other student senator. We're glad you're here. Any other changes to the minutes for October 25th? Again, these do need careful review. Then hearing no changes, the minutes are approved. For what? Oh, approved as corrected for October 25th, meeting of the Senate. Then there were minutes for November 8th, our last, most recent meeting of the Senate. Are there any changes for those minutes? Hearing none, Anthony, somebody's proofreading these. Thank you, Anthony. I'm really glad.
Well, my name was spelled wrong again, but I also had a question. I mean, I don't know how detailed we have to be. The whole discussion about curriculum. Remember, I made a motion to make it separate and then we withdrew it. So none of that's in there. So because it was withdrawn, we don't have to have it in there? Okay, all right, that, wasn't sure about that.
We are having today on the agenda, after our essential business, is a Robert's Rules refresher on the minutes. I have already read the presentation because Leslie sent it to me and I learned a lot and it addresses that among many things. So we're going to get a little more education on how the minutes should work. It does, yeah, if a motion is withdrawn, it doesn't show up in the minutes.
We only include actionable items.
Only actionable items, which
She said.
who knew? Welcome, Lisa. Thank you for running from the C building. Welcome, Aaliyah. I'm glad you're here. And your name? Easter. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Easter. Oh, yeah. I can't, it's blocked. Welcome to you all. So hearing no changes besides the spelling of Anthony's last name to the November 8th minutes. Again, if you are a senator or an alternate senator, or a guest, if you're reading the minutes, make sure if you are there, make sure you're there. You're listed, right? Make sure your name is spelled right. Those are essential basic details, but then anything else, if it's different than you remember it, let me know. If the numbers don't make sense, let me know. Denise again has a conflict today, our secretary. She's not here, but we're working with, and Jill is supporting the secretary role as vice chair of Senate today. So we're working with her, so let us know if there are any corrections, but I hear no more corrections for the November 8th minutes, so those minutes are approved. As correct. Thank you. Curriculum. And this is not in the agenda or in order, but that was a huge amount of curriculum. Gigantic. Bravo, Priyanka, for the accomplishment of that curriculum. So, we need a motion to approve the curriculum. Would someone move? Mahidi, would you like to move to approve the curriculum?
Yeah.
You say, I move to approve the curriculum.
You have to say, you have to.
Just say, I move to approve the curriculum.
Yes, I moved to the curriculum.
That the motion was from Mahidi Hassan. Thank you very much. A second,
A second.
Erica, a second. Point of order, thank
Can
you.
we clarify the motion to indicate which date we are voting on?
Can we vote on both at the same time, or do we vote on both?
Depending on
individually?
the motion.
Oh, yeah. So if you aren't, I'm gonna share my agenda with you. So curriculum consent calendar items, oops, from November 9th and November 16th. So I moved to, I'm not really good at that. Yep.
I move to the motion, vote on curriculum committee consent calendar items from November 9 and November 16, 2023.
All right. So that, and Erica has the second, so it's 2 dates of curriculum items. So, and now we have a roll call vote as a reminder. Again, as a reminder, if you are a new senator, the most important thing to read is the summary of the curriculum. It includes a rationale for each change. There's a page that summarizes all the items in that folder. This is one of our key roles as senators, is to review and approve these curriculum items. So that was the reminder. And we do a roll call vote, which means your name will be called and your response is aye if you vote yes, no if you vote no, or if you abstain. Yeah, but if you abstain, and it's your choice in these cases. So Jill is going to read the names. And one more reminder again, you who are here in person, you are quorum. If you are an alternate and your senator is on Zoom, we are letting the senator vote. So Zoom members can vote, but your presence here is so essential for us because we need in-person quorum in order to do the hybrid meeting that we're doing. Okay.
Senator Correa. Aye. Senator Paz.
Aye.
Senator Hutchins. Curriculum. Aye. Senator Gertner.
Aye.
Senator Lund.
Online. So,
There he is.
yeah, I said it's aye if you vote yes for the curriculum.
Aye.
Thank you. And as a reminder, if you are a senator and you are on Zoom, you should have your camera on for the whole meeting, especially for the business parts like this.
Senator Bakalaka.
Aye.
Senator Tanaka.
Aye.
Senator Howard. Aye. Senator Hamilton.
You're muted. Senator Hamilton. Try again with yes.
My ears are clogged up. So I was gonna ask if I could log off and let
Sure.
Brandy.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank
So
you.
I'll log off because my
All
ears are clogged up and my voice.
Thank you for showing up in that. All
Okay.
right.
Bye.
Bye. So Randy is serving as senator.
Okay, Senator Piper.
Aye.
Senator Johnson.
Aye.
Senator Isaac.
Aye.
Senator Florence. Aye. Senator Vincenzo.
Aye.
Senator Gordon Conyers. Senator Z. Senator Minkoff.
Aye.
Senator O'Sullivan.
Aye.
Senator Rossby. Senator Afon,
Aye.
Senator Hassan,
Aye.
Senator Yara. Senator Robinson. Aye. Senator Zip. Senator Watt.
I. Yeah, the same thing.
Portia, your camera should be on.
I.
There. Thank you, Portia.
Person Grunts.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm getting emails. The motion carries. Thank you again. Assistant. All right, curriculum's approved. Priyantha, thank you so much for your hard work and for being here. We appreciate this massive amount of work. So it's interesting to see how the curriculum is being updated at LaGuardia to better suit the needs of students and the needs of jobs and the needs of transfer and all of that stuff. So next item on the agenda is a Robert's Rules refresher. By the way, that is the last official item of business on our Senate, on our agenda. The rest is a lot of informational items, including committee reports, my report, but now Robert's Rules refresher. Oh, and also there'll be new business if you have any new business. So I am going to share the presentation and attempt to advance it as our parliamentarian needs. We'll see how that goes. Our mentor parliamentarian. Hold on. Well, okay. Hello, Surgeon. Welcome. Okay. Can you at home see this? Okay, great.
Feel advanced.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Skamaka, and I'm the immediate past parliamentarian, which is awesome to say. But I'm going to do this presentation to give our new parliamentarian a break. So today we're talking about minutes. And I just want to preface this conversation with, this is in no way a direct attack on any secretary. Thank you so much for your efforts. But minutes, as we as the Senate get more and more used to the Robert's Rules, as we get more formalized and more streamlined, we're trying just to make ourselves a little bit better. So if you are a current secretary in a committee and you've been not really following minutes according to Robert's Rules, it's okay. Let's just pick up and try a little bit better every day. So we're going to talk a little bit about what are minutes, the composing of the minutes, what is not included necessarily in the minutes, dealing with inaccuracies, the approval of the minutes, and in the book, it talks about signing of the minutes. So what are the minutes? Well, all of this information is in one chapter of Robert's Rules, so it's basically pretty easy to find. There's a little bit of information in another chapter about officer reports, but basically this comes from chapter 58. Is it easier to go there? Or no?
Just turn that out of the way. There we go.
So the minutes are the official record. What is important to note is that not everything that goes on at a meeting goes in the minutes. The meetings are a record of actions taken. It's not a transcript. And that is really important, particularly if there are extra sensitive matters. You're not putting in the minutes what people said versus what the body did. And so it's a very different style of writing. And new secretaries or new folks who are taking minutes, it's a typical transition to make because we're just used to what do people say, let's write it down. But this is what are the outcomes of what was discussed. Why they're important is because Robert's a little dramatic. They're the surviving record of the meeting. But why that's important, particularly to us, is we're an open meeting. And so anyone can request our minutes, but also our community can request our minutes to see what was done. And they want to know specifically what was spoken about via actions. If there is ever a question of points of order, the first thing the parliamentarian will do is ask for the minutes. So you want to make sure that you do have them easily readable, but don't sacrifice quality for readability. And as educators, we're all about that. So students, I know that you feel our pain when we're constantly talking as professors, but okay. So easily informative, easily readable, easily navigatable. So the last thing is minutes are not a reflection of the writer's opinion. So you do also want to be very careful to neutralize pronouns, but to keep it as, again, recording of the facts as opposed to slipping in your opinion. Even if it's a favorable opinion, you just don't want to have that in your minutes. So the minutes follow a pattern. Roberts has a template, if you will, but it's not like a cut and paste kind of thing. But basically what you see are a first paragraph, a last paragraph, and sometimes a miracle within. So the first paragraph is pretty standard. The last paragraph are your signatures, and what happens in between is really the important stuff. So your role in the first paragraph is looking at the meeting type. Now, we had a special meeting, so we've already seen a different type of meeting, but normally what you're reading for this is the regular meeting of the Senate. The name of the assembly, so it's us, the assembly of the body. You want to see the college Senate to make sure you're reading the right groups, date and time, the place if it's not consistent. So we're lucky this semester that we have this room for the majority of our meetings, but again, just noting where the meeting took place. Who is presiding? So the chair, the secretary, if someone is presiding in their place, so we'll have that come January, we'll have someone else in place. Today, we don't have our regular secretary, we have Jill residing in place. And then again, I kept prompting our chair to say as corrected. So if the meetings are the way that they were written, or if we need to do some correction. Now, minutes are supposed to be read out loud. We don't do that. Much to chapter 48 chagrin, but so if you do see mention of reading the minutes, that is something that this body could enact, but I would, let's pretend we didn't hear that. In the body, what you're looking for again is each paragraph contains one important action in order to keep them separated. So there's a couple of things here, the main motions. And that's like we had for the curriculum, I move that. So all of those motions are listed one after the other within their own paragraphs, and they have the wording exactly as it was said, and the disposition meaning what happened. So did we approve or did the motion carry? Did the motion not carry? And Anthony's question before comes at a great time. If there is a withdrawal of the motion, that doesn't need to be recorded in the minutes because there was again no action on it. So is it a point of order that you put something like that in? No, but it's not necessary as a record of the meeting. After your primary or your main motions, you're going to have secondary motions, and those are the ones that get us a little bit confused because they change the actions of the main motion. So if we call the question, if we're tabling things, those are your secondary motions. The substance of oral committee reports. This is something that I've actually asked the executive committee to take a look at. Because the committee reports that we have are excellent and they all submit minutes into the executive committee secretary. So the record is there. What goes in our minutes is, again, any actions that we needed to take or anything of substance. So I'd like to see our executive committee define what it is that is considered substance. And that's also discussed in the book in chapter from the officer reports. Notices of motion, so if there's future items, all points of order, so I did make a point of order today, so that should be in the minutes as well. The chair is the one who rules on things, it's not the parliamentarian, but we have a little thing going here, so sometimes I just tell her and we consider it
I need help.
and then the best part is bad behavior does go in the minutes. And you get called out by name. It's fabulous. So we have not had to worry about this. So thankfully. And if you would, Chrissy. Last paragraph, the signing of the minutes or the hour of adjournment, and then the signatures are below. Again, why the hours are important is that's the end of business. And so if something comes up after the meeting is adjourned, it's not part of the meeting. So we need to be really mindful of when the meeting ends. And that's why we use exact times for the opening of the meeting and closing of the meeting. Some best practices. We have an excellent secretary in the back corner, so she can absolutely corroborate some of this information. But when you make a motion, your name does appear in the minutes. We also here use the seconder's name, but that's not required. Again, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not required. As far as voting, the number of votes when we have a numbered vote is important. The ballots, like we did when we voted for executive committee, Sabine did the whole teller's report that goes into your minutes in full, and roll call, you're actually supposed to list out all the names of folks voting on both sides, because what typically happens is we're typically 100%. So you look at the attendance list. If we have 100%, then you can make that without having to retype those names. But in cases that we have a division, you do need to know who voted on what side. The proceedings of a committee are not entered, again, anything of substance. So sometimes it's difficult, again, to know what the committee is reporting on. Think about, what are they asking the Senate to do? If they're just telling you what they did, that's information. If they're telling the Senate, we need your approval on something, or we need you to act on something, that's substance. So that you'll see in our minutes as opposed to committee minutes. And any guest speakers. So you'll notice that we tend not to elaborate on guest speakers' content. It doesn't need to be in the minutes. We often have their presentations as appendices, which is fantastic. But again, that's not part of our minutes. Committee reports, and again, just a quick reminder, for your own committees and for the executive committee, we do want to make sure that we're determining what is of substance, so what really needs to be discussed here, versus allowing our committees to really develop and blossom and start making the decisions, and us trusting those decisions. And that's a long time coming. And so it's really great to see that we're at a point where we can really, put forth the power of our committees and show that they're important across the all of our constituencies. We can, just really quick, we can have to be entered in the minutes. If a committee really wants something in the minutes, they could absolutely say to be entered into minutes. So isn't it necessary to summarize matters? No. Moving on. So no, you don't need a transcript. You don't need a summary in the minutes. Again, it's just the outcomes. What happened, the motions, the actions taken. So there's, this is actually documented in Robert's Rules, but I found this online. I just love when people are snarky. I'm in a group of parliamentarians, so our snark is very different than normal people snark. So it's not necessary to summarize, but it's actually not appropriate. So your role, again, if meetings of a previous or minutes of a previous meeting are corrected, are the corrections entered? So if you are a recorder of minutes, like today, we had some corrections. Where do those go? The secretary doesn't actually go back and change the previous document. They're actually just noted in parentheses, or they're noted when we make the corrections. So if you would, Christy, have some samples here. So in the example, our Senate meetings that occurred November 8th, November 29th. The minutes from the November 8th meeting are presented for approval on November 29th. Okay, normal procedure, you take the meeting prior and the next meeting approved. Why do we have to approve them? make sure there's no corrections, and then again, it's the legal proceedings from the meeting. So what do you, the living document, which is dramatic. Anyway, if minutes get corrected, here it gets just a little bit tricky. If they're corrected now, just like when we had the information open on the floor, they can go into the record as corrected. If you find an error later, is it a lost cause? Absolutely not. You can bring it up. There's a special secondary motion. It's to amend something previously adopted. So if you are going back through minutes and you find something that is not accurate, please don't keep that to yourself. Absolutely bring that up to the executive committee, and they can determine if it was a typo, do we need to bring it forward, and so forth. So again, these are made available for you so you can follow through and ask additional questions. Again, for those of you who are aspiring secretaries, current secretaries, thank you so much. But if you are looking to take on this role, it is okay for you to take notes and take a transcript, and again, then record that into minutes in the more minute format. So don't think you have to create all of this as the meeting is going. So I know Jill has mentioned in the past that the recording of the meeting is actually very helpful, because you can go back and look and see, okay, was that a proper motion? Did we discuss what it came out of that discussion, or was it merely a point of order? So it's really nice that we do have these recordings, but remember too, that that transcript really should not be in the hands of the body. It needs to be in minute form. The approving of the minutes, again, your role is absolutely to read them. So sometimes things are not recorded accurately. And it's easier because it's the outcomes. If you're writing a transcript, sometimes that can, if you know from research, writing a transcript can sometimes get inaccurate. So we tend not to have it accurate, which is great. However, we want to make sure that everything is written as it happened, because this does go down as the facts. Make sure, again, your name is spelled correctly. If you were present, make sure you're marked present. If you were not in attendance, please make sure that you're not in the present column. The outcomes, was that all correct? And how do you feel about the tone? As you're reading through, is it a record of facts? Is it kind of legal and dry? Then you probably hit it on the nose. If it's a story and embellished, it's probably too much opinion. So you just want to make sure that you're mindful of keeping that tone rather flat. Minutes are technically supposed to be signed. They sign by the presenter and the secretary. We can also have the chair sign them. In the electronic world, an electronic signature is valid. In the olden days, the minutes used to be in a big tome and you usually sign probably with a quill pen. However, it's electronic signature nowadays. So if you are secretary or chair of a subcommittee and you are approving minutes, you want to make sure that your signature is there. Respectfully submitted is really nice, but it's just nice to have. You don't necessarily need to have that. Just like you don't need to have references upon request on your resume, you don't necessarily need to have respectfully submitted, but it's an older practice that has. And that's it. So that's like the fast, down and dirty of minutes. You'll have access to this. I've got where everything came from within chapter 48 of Robert's Rules. Again, look for the executive committee to be talking about what we want to see as far as records and what should come from the committees, what should go in our minutes if that needs to be discussed.
So we're going to talk about it more. Thank you so much, Leslie. And there's questions. Patricia.
I just have a comment. I think the word taking minutes is what is, this sort of gets us to think that you have to.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So you take the minutes, meaning if you don't do it, you missed something. Whereas, in that case, we can just take notes and then construct the minutes, as you said, which is very interesting.
I think they call it. Yeah, in legislative bodies, it's called the journal too, so which is another misleading comment because that implies opinion, and so good call.
Yeah, all right. Again, thank you. Can you at home see me? I'm having trouble finding is the owl, the room view on? Okay. It's not.
Yeah, you can see it here.
Oh, yeah, there. It's great. It's not showing up here, but it is fine. All right, next item on the agenda is the chair's report, and I have a few things I want to mention to you all. 2 meetings ago, I believe, or maybe 1 meeting ago, asked for, or mentioned that that I've been contacted, seeking a Senate representative for the search committee for the new permanent director of human resources. I understand that the person who's been selected has not been notified himself, but I have been informed that the Senate Rep is Thomas, or Renato. I am concluding, since Thomas hadn't heard, I've been given permission to share it with you, that it is still not yet officially fully formed. There's been delays in dealing, I don't know if you know how much diversity has to be addressed in putting together a search committee. It's taking a while. And so in the next few days, no, couple of weeks, maybe, this search for a permanent director of HR for LaGuardia will go public. The job posting will be online. When that, I'll pay attention and notice. But so they're working on finalizing the search committee. But we will have a Senate representative. Otherwise, the committee will remain confidential who the people are, so that we can't go buttonholing everyone and saying, yeah. So, but I wanted to let you know of that. There also has been a search open, which is now closed, for a replacement for the benefits director who had departed unexpectedly shortly after having been hired. That person, by the way, is now the director of HR at Rockland Community College, or yes. So that led to an earlier job she applied for was delayed and then finally came through, and that led to her departure after only being here a few weeks. So there has been an ongoing search to replace the benefits manager, director, benefits director. I don't know what the title is. And that search closed on November 22nd. We will at some point hopefully be hearing about an outcome from that search. A couple of other things. There is, I have finally successfully made updates to the Senate website that I want to point out to you. So if you would give me a moment, I'm going to share the screen again. And we'll see if I can make this work. I just want to show you what is on the Senate website that is new. Besides our new picture, which I'm going to mention in a moment. New things here is a link there on the left to presentations to the Senate. So after our meeting today, I will take this Robert's Rules refresher and post that. It is a publicly available, or the SharePoint that is available to members of the LaGuardia community. You might need to log in, but it includes the presentations. I'm not going to click on it now. Also in archives is a new category for resolutions. So we're also posting past resolutions. We haven't passed any resolutions in the last few months with the Senate, but there are some past resolutions. And so there is a place in the archives section of the website for resolutions. The last thing that is new on the Senate website is a list of the current Senate roster. Is posted, is right here. So it's a PDF along with the meeting calendar and the link, the meeting recordings. It's a link to the Senate YouTube channel where all past meetings are posted, the recordings are posted. So, so you know those are there. I encourage you to take advantage of them. I wanted to say, this is the photo we took at our last meeting, from which so many senators are missing, that it made me sad that many people couldn't be here. And I am wondering about trying to retake a photo at a future meeting and replace it. We talked with the executive committee about maybe doing that now. I think Leslie mentioned I am going to be away in January. So Vice Chair of Senate is stepping in to lead the meeting. And so I would prefer we not take the photo in January at the January meeting, but either February for faculty is still part of fall 2, and some faculty are not around. So either be the February meeting or the March meeting. And I wanted to take a poll, an informal hand raising. If we did a retake of the photo in February, would you be here for it? Would that work for you? If we retook the photo in March, would that be better? Any opinions or discussions? March, I hear March from Sandra, thank you. Any other thoughts about, trying to retake the photo? It would be easier than trying to take individual photos and fill them in, just to have the photographer come again and emphasize, make a concerted effort for all senators, as best as possible to be present for that time. Any other opinion or discussion there? Okay. Yeah, I see that comment from Rebecca too. Okay, so, two other things. From my, chair's report. As you can see, we need to talk about attendance. So in-person attendance by senators is, we have to have quorum in person in order to conduct business. Zoom is an alternative, but what I want to you can tell how important it is that you are here. If you are a senator and have an alternate and you know you can't be in person, take responsibility for contacting your alternate. Try to encourage your alternate to attend. I believe we are going to try to, we have some vacancies in the alternate seat. If your alternate if there's a vacancy, make sure if you have a constituency, make sure that an alternate is elected. We're going to work on, I think, according to the governance plan, at-large instructional staff alternates. It looks like can be, don't have to stick with the seat they're in. We're going to pursue that, talk about that more, so we can try to make sure that we aren't waiting for quorum. If you are a senator, your attendance is, this is not a class, but your attendance is required. And I wanted to point out, that we can and will recall senators. It is part of the governance plan, and I want to read it to you. We have done it in the past with student senators that just quit showing up to recall them, but it goes for all senators. Here is the only ones we can't recall are faculty council president, Rochelle, you can't be recalled, and the Student Government Association president also can't be recalled. All the other senators are subject to recall under the following conditions. And this is from our current governance plan. I'm not sure if the revision has changed anything here. I'm carrying it around like former chair Patricia, we carry it around, yeah, just in honor of today. So here's what it says. A senator shall be subject to recall under the following conditions: after 2 consecutive unexcused absences, or after 3 months in office, the senator's overall attendance record reflects a majority of absences, right? 2 unexcused absences. I don't mind you emailing me. If you can't be here or coming late, email me and let me know, right? And that's close enough to an excused absence, but showing up, not showing up twice is reason to potentially be recalled, or missing a majority of the meetings over a 3-month period. An excused absence, it says, may be obtained for good cause if a letter or email is received by the Secretary of the Senate or the chairperson of the Senate prior to the Senate meeting. I don't care about your cause, right? You don't need to justify. So I misread the teacher too. I don't want to see a doctor's note. I'll take your word for it, but let me know ahead of time, right? The recall procedure is as follows. It says a letter will be sent by the Secretary of the Senate to the senator requesting the senator to submit an explanation to the executive committee regarding the absence. The executive committee will review the response, decide whether to forward a motion to the Senate to recall the senator or excuse the absences of the senator. If the decision by the executive committee is to submit a motion of recall to the Senate, a 2/3 vote of those senators present or an absolute majority of the Senate membership, whichever is greater, is required to recall that senator. Now, and that sounds punitive. It is a little punitive, but this is not, I mean, this is a serious endeavor that we're undertaking here. So if you're a senator, you need to show up. If you can't show up, let me know. Make sure your alternate can be here. If you don't have an alternate, go figure out, I mean, whatever it takes, if you were representing constituency to make sure your alternate is present. Student senators, if you are an alternate student senator, I guarantee you that all the student senators will not be present. So still show up because you will be able to vote, because I'm sure you'll be filling in for someone who's absent. But let me know, or let the secretary know. I prefer, I'm minding this, so let me know, right? You can CC the secretary Dunnies on this as well, but let me know for sure. And then we are going to sadly start recalling senators if there are some that aren't participating. That is the end. I'm gonna mention one more thing. I don't know if you saw, I know this went around to faculty. CUNY has produced a really interesting presentation on enrollment across CUNY. If you didn't see it in your email, I know Hugo, who is a member of UFS, sent it around to faculty. If you were not part of that email or would like to see it, email me and I'll be glad to share it with you. It's interesting to see, since I think 2019, CUNY enrollment across all the CUNYs is down 18%. So it's a challenge. LaGuardia enrollment is also down over that time period, but in the last year, the fall enrollment is 7% higher than a year ago fall. So it's starting to come back up, but it was kind of a big dive around the pandemic. So, so if you're interested, email me, let me know, and I'll be glad to share that with you. And based on the input that we've heard, we will tentatively plan, I need to check with the photographer, we'll tentatively plan on taking a new Senate photo at the March meeting. And I don't have that date in front of me. I know you can figure it out. The March meeting, plan on a Senate photo. We'll send an announcement. I'll talk about it again. So that we can have a better representation of senators in that photo. And then my chair's report. Next item on the agenda is we're beginning committee reports. So committee on committees, Leslie, you are chair.
No formal report, just a point of interest that I was elected chair at our last meeting. And we've already had some requests for seating, for filling some committees. So you'll start to see the committee reach out to you for help in recruiting members.
Great, thank you. We've heard from the curriculum committee in that massive package of curriculum. Academic standing committee. Lila, thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. I few items. I hope you're aware that we had our yearly workshop last month. It was quite successful. Over 60 people attended virtually, and we have the recording of this workshop available on our website. If it's okay, I would like to share the website just to show. We have really been working on keeping the website up to date, have all our minutes there, and also, let me see if I can share or not. I pressed the wrong button here. Oh, here we go. So hopefully this will work if I can find it. Just 1 second. 1 second. Here we go. All right. This should work now. There and there. Okay, so this is our website, and the recording is right here. It's embedded, so you can watch it.
Oh, there it is. Okay, go ahead.
Shall I continue? Yeah,
We got it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's embedded now, so it's quite obvious. I really recommend to watch it if you have time. There is also timestamps on it, so you can choose whatever topic you want to see addressed. We keep a policy update segment now where the newest policy changes are communicated, and they stay for a year, and then they go into the archive, and new policy updates are over here. Then we have stuff on the syllabus, the new attendance policy, academic integrity, and all of our minutes are up to date here. And thank you for that reminder. I'm going to share the information I heard about the minutes with the committee. So that's one thing we accomplished. We are currently working on the academic forgiveness policy. We have suggested and accepted some changes to the policy. However, there is one thing that is still unclear to me, and I want to clarify it with the committee and with the registrar before we bring it to the Senate for discussion and potential approval. So that's the next item that you can be looking forward to hearing from me about, academic forgiveness policy. We are also working on a student-facing section of the website. Hopefully there will be short TikTok style videos there about various important policies in a way and language and visual style that the students will understand and appreciate. And we want to have a section on our website for that, and hopefully also work with the communications department to get the information out. I think it's very important for students, or we all agree in the committee that it's important for students to be aware and understand these policies that impact them so heavily. And I have two questions, actually, now that I'm here. One, we are committee on committees. We are in dire need of a student representative. So I'm still waiting. Have somebody send our way, please, if there is some love to have a student representative. And also we have a couple of alternates that our committee on committees is responsible for. Definitely health science department. We don't have an alternate, and currently there's nobody attending because the actual member is on leave, some sort of leave, and so there's nobody from health department, which is really detrimental to our work. So I'm hoping that a student representative and a alternate from the health science department could join us. And then the last question I have, there was a mention during this is a question for the Senate. There was a mention of during our last meeting about the academic standing committee's meetings being open to the public, just like the Senate. I would like clarifications about this and whether we need to be inviting the whole college community to our meeting as the Senate does or not. Can anyone help me with that?
Alex?
Former chair, yeah, he's supposed to provide the college committee.
The college community?
Well,
I
Alex
will-
was the one who brought it up, so I would like clarifications from the Senate.
Yeah,
It's a public, it's open to the public if it's committee that makes policy. If the committee makes policy, it has to be open to the public. If it's only an advising committee, it doesn't have to be open to.
is academic standing a committee that makes policy, or do they just make a recommendation to the Senate?
Most of the committees make recommendations to the Senate. So what we were told was that, because I'm on the budget committee and the question came up to us, and the idea was that, no, we didn't have to open the committee to everyone, because it's an advisory, not a committee that makes policy.
So the academic standing committee crafts the policy, but it is not policy until the Senate approves it. So the Senate is the policy-making body.
And that's why the Senate falls under the open policy. The open meeting rules is what make policy.
So it is a potentially debatable question. So I will continue to pursue it a little more, and but Charles has opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and I disagree.
He's, I mean, he was chair of the Senate and he said that he said it was supposed to be, so I guess like you're saying, it's debatable, and I guess we'll just get an answer.
We will, we might not get a firm answer, we may just get an ongoing debate. I understand that the UFS makes all of the University Faculty Senate makes all of its committees open. But I heard that at a UFS meeting, but it has not been our practice. Because the policy-making body is the body that needs to have open meetings, and that is the Senate. It is not the subcommittee committee of the Senate. So, but yes,
There's no objection to invite if you want to open it, right?
Yeah.
It's not meant.
it's not mandatory.
Well, if you pull under the open policy, there are a whole bunch of things that come up that, oh, that are just forums, it's just all this. Right.
In-person.
Yeah.
In-person forum, and limitations on Zoom, on remote meeting.
Right, I mean, if you remember that the original Perez decision was about this, a Senate and its executive committee. So the executive committee is considered one that's supposed to be open, even though, you know.
There's an exception there about executive.
Well, I mean, that was the original Perez decision. It had involved both those committees, not here, not LaGuardia, but it was the executive committee and a Senate. Whether that's interpreted to other standing committees, that's been a debate for years. I mean, and like everyone said, sometimes we invite people, sometimes we don't. I mean, most meetings on campus are pretty open, but it really depends. I mean, the curriculum committee, things like that, usually other people don't go to, certain certain committees, it's, they're more closed than others. So, right.
Or, Lila, thank you for opening up that wonderful question.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to add. Anyways, I've heard that the inclination is towards, of course, we are absolutely welcoming committee. We have never turned anybody away. But I just wanted clarifications related to the rules of whether we have to send out the same kind of double invitation that the Senate does. My understanding from what I hear is no, but I'm hoping to get a final answer from you, Christy. You can just send me an email.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. I'm gonna have to go, but I really enjoyed all the refreshers, and I will see you next time.
Thank you, Lila. Next, Committee on Campus Affairs.
To really just have an update, June, so the Legal Central, that's the legal office, has allowed the college 2 options in order to extend food services.
This is about food service and the county with food service.
So as you know, we are trying to get an RFP going, and that wasn't successful.
Which is a request for proposals,
Yes,
right?
sorry.
Yeah.
Request for proposal.
For someone new, a new food service provider.
So while we're doing this, which could take up to 6 months, the idea is that we'll work with hostels and the other campus. Also the Bronx community. And maybe that will be more appealing. So while we're doing this, and like I said, this could take up to 6 months. The idea is that we have 2 options: to extend the current contract to June 30th, 2024, or extend it for 2 years, to August 30th, 2025. The college has not made a decision. This will be something that we'll talk about in our campus affairs meeting that's coming up in December 6th. The Farmers Bridge, I'm sure you've all seen the new streets that are there.
Yeah.
They will be built now in December. And like I said, our campus affairs meeting is scheduled for December 6th, and we have several topics to discuss. One of them being the visitors policy, the First Amendment auditors, that's what we're talking about. The very sorry, First Amendment auditors.
Oh, yeah. So 2 people from the public who came into the library and started videoing. They're auditing First Amendment around places by obtrusively videoing without. So it's the question there is if you can take a video without permission in a public place. What?
New York is a one-party recording.
One party recording.
So there's different, so I don't want to go into the full detail, but there are different things that they can and cannot do. So I think that's one of the things that we want to discuss. There's also a policy that was in draft form, communications in terms of, when you come in to do filming and things like that. And just taking a look at both of those, what can and cannot. And just looking a little bit further into how to better prepare the college community, specifically because this came from the library, the staff in the library, how to handle that situation. A lot of the times, we want to avoid any confrontation, but that's actually what they're looking for.
Jill, question and then Simone.
We had a similar question come up for online learning about students who are videoing professors. I just want to make sure that part of the conversation that you guys have is expanding it from not just visitors in the library, obviously visiting our campus, but students in the classroom, in person. So I think that's going to be an issue.
Then I think that the vision component of the global classroom be considered.
And classrooms,
With a while back.
classrooms
There
are
were
not,
some things online already, for QE schools and QE Central. But there's also seems to be a lack of information, as to what applies where, and what situation, especially since when I suck the online learning.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
That on your slate, I mean.
Thank you, Jill. Just a minute, Simone, and then I'll come back to.
So you said
9 months. So we, yeah.
So.
No, MBJ is not close. MBJ is,
It's all the.
working at limited capacity. They're saying that the revenue they're collecting is not enough, therefore they don't have enough to cover the personnel. So if you notice, they do the main cafeteria, they do Starbucks, and then they do the C building, kiosks, but they don't do the cafeteria. Right, so the idea is, right, the option is to extend it till June 30th, 24. That's 9 months, or to extend it for 2 years.
So,
I'm
MBJ,
interested in hearing how,
Yeah.
your constituents feel about the extension for 2 years.
yeah, or for it to be a year and a half, right, or from, oh, yeah,
Well, because we are going to be working with hostels and bonds, and we hope to have an RFP, within 6 months, if we extend it for 2 years, what does that mean in terms of the new contract?
yeah.
So that's what I'd love to hear from the college community.
Yeah, so the concern is, so MBJ did not want to extend their contract ended and they did not want to renew it because they aren't making enough money selling food here. They've allowed it to be extended to June, but there's a possibility now considering extending it longer in case a new new request for proposals can't come through in time, so we don't want to be stuck without food. But for vending issues, which by the way, is the situation I've heard at Bronx and Hostos. Is there's no food vendor, just vending machines. So it's a challenge. Alex?
To the food thing, I mean, I know recently we had some like kind of dynamic trucks outside, the pizza guy, the popcorn guy, the taco guy, and everybody loves it. It would be great if you could just put like food trucks out in front. And the pizza's like $2.
Can we get food trucks out from?
So there's a whole permit issue that comes with that, and, they would have to do that on their own, so I don't think that's really feasible. One of the recommendations that I have made, is that maybe, because the way they present the RFP, at least the last one, is you basically are bidding on both the kiosks, both of the cafeterias. That might be a lot for a company, unless you're a bigger company. So my, recommendation was that maybe we can split that. And, they might be interested in renting, right, two different kiosks, 2 different cafeterias. That may mean tacos and the building. We'll keep that in mind. And just note that the C building is the one full of pizza. They actually have the ovens and everything.
Remember that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna, yes, Erica.
Like feedback by about
So we're meeting December 6th.
before that.
Yeah, if you could give them feedback.
Yeah.
Alex.
Yeah, so I think, what the constituents will be interested in, would be, reopening of the cafe.
In the C building?
Either one.
Well, the main building is open. Yeah.
The building is
They have
open.
every- the building is not started. Yeah, it's open. It's just very limited time. Right.
It looks.
But it's open.
Yeah. So the problem is not, we're here to say, no, we don't need food. Everybody wants food and wants more of it, and when we need it, it is a matter of getting a company that can make enough money to make it worth their while to provide it, so that's the balance. Alex, did you wanna?
No, I was gonna go back to the videotaping. To give some context, what happened in the library is that not only the students videotaping, they came into private offices again. So I just think everybody should understand that. They went into a private office and they were asked to leave the office, and that's when the whole thing.
That was a conflict.
And my understanding, at least from the research that, I haven't been in contact with one another, is that a lot of these, First Amendment, and not all of them, so I don't wanna say all of them, First Amendment auditors put these things on YouTube, and they get money for it. So the idea is to create this content. Right, they want you to react to it. So I think as far as our committee is to make sure that we understand, the reason behind it, what it is, what they can and cannot do, and going into private office.
It's actually.
Thank you.
I just want to add that we also need students. We had one
Yes.
student express an interest. But I know some of the student senators had expressed an interest in the first meeting, you know, now that we have a committee chair. Talk to the committee and committees, and we'd love to have one.
So, and you can tell what the Campus Affairs Committee handles is anything related to the facilities of the campus and policies about the use of the facilities. So, again, there's descriptions of each committee on the Senate website to get a sense of what they involve, and many of them want students, so. Committee of Faculty, Dan.
Nothing new to add, just we have a meeting today, right after the Senate.
Thank you.
Sure.
If you're a faculty senator. Right, yeah. The Committee on Professional Development. Derek, you're still here for
I'm still
once.
here.
Finally. That's me, not
Good.
you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Just a few things I just want to report on of the various subcommittees. In-service training held 3 sessions this semester. One was titled Community-Based Learning. Another was Navigating Academic Book Publishing. And the third was Navigating the Digital Frontier. The Faculty and Staff Excellence Awards Subcommittee has worked on an overview of the criteria and the selection process for nominees. They will also develop the survey forms for the nomination. They've had 2 meetings so far this semester. The next Ruma Chowdhury Research Colloquium will be held in spring. The Diversity and Inclusion Subcommittee is looking into having in-person sessions moving forward, and they are also looking into recruiting new members if anybody's interested. There is a potential event scheduled for March on how to de-escalate violence, and EDIT has an $18,000 budget for fiscal year 24, and they will also try to persuade administration for an increase in that funding, and they are also in a conversation to fund open access fees. And that's my report. Any questions?
Derek, so in case you didn't catch it, there is in the works a new Teaching Excellence Awards for faculty, as well as a Staff Excellence Awards. So those are underway. Thank you, Derek. Any questions, Alex?
Teaching excellence, it's not staff, just faculty.
Is it there, Derek, remind us, is it 2 awards, 1 award for staff, 1 award for faculty? Yeah.
It's 2 different awards, but the subcommittee is called the Faculty and Staff Awards Subcommittee.
Okay, so
But there are 2 different awards, yeah.
Thank you, Derek. All right. Any other questions for Derek? Thank you. By the way, there was a question in the chat. Rebecca wants to know what time the Campus Affairs Committee meeting is on December 6th.
12 to 1.
12 to 1. Okay. Thank you. And
It's going up.
and a shout out from Rebecca for the de-escalating violence workshop. Thomas.
So for those awards, who votes for them? Just faculty and staff, or students too?
It is still underway. We'll hear. It's being created. So we'll have more updates. Good question. But all right. Great. Thank you. Next committee, Budget and Finance Committee. Patricia, right when you're eating a cookie.
So the committee isn't met yet. We're waiting because we're waiting to see what CUNY is going to tell us about the 5% cut that's coming in. So we're waiting to see when where we're going to. So as soon as we have the numbers, we'll be sharing.
Okay, so in 5%
And again, the people who are interested in budget, LaGuardia doesn't really make a lot of decisions. A lot of it is made at CUNY Center. We've got way over stuff. So we're waiting.
And the 5% cut is coming from the mayor?
Yeah, that's the city cut that has touched, libraries, schools, and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's CUNY, it's 5%. It's 5% now. Will they be more in the spring?
Right. So, thank you, Patricia. Committee of Staff and Alumni, Karam, you have arrived just in time.
Just on time, right?
Yes.
First of all, thank you for giving me an opportunity to present the first time report on COSA. And I'm going to talk about how human resources is wonderful. Yeah. So basically, in that meet, we met on last Monday, and we talked about the issues. What really have been talking about. The issues were more or less the same what were presented to President Adams by the union. So I think we just to repeat those issues. So Dr. Bruns had asked us to bring some recommendations, how these can be maybe not fixed, but proactively try to resolve the issue.
Let me give a little context, especially for students. So there's been concerns raised about how Human Resources Office at LaGuardia operates in the services it provides to faculty and staff, to employees in the college. So, and that the union circulated, the PSC, that union circulated a letter which went to the president. And this is what Karan is referencing, and the Committee of Staff and Alumni has discussed this. So now continue.
So our recommendation was maybe to edit HR website, just to make sure the information is there. If I don't get a response in a timely manner, maybe they can just go to the website and try to get the information. So this is one of the and we also talked about ombudsperson, and I think we have 2 staff members who are volunteering with the other 3 faculty members, and those are Lisa and Nadia and Rajita Nair.
And they are volunteering to join a working group that's investigating the possibility of an ombudsperson like the one we have focused on student issues, but this would focus on staff and faculty.
And we met yesterday for the first meeting.
And yesterday I attended the staff council group, and then they were asking, the question came up if one more staff member can join the group. I said, you don't have the answer yet, but that was my question to you. And so basically, that's it. That's what we talk about.
Great, great. So you need another member for the planning group who is planning the staff council? Is that what you want to know?
Yeah. They want to know if someone else can join that group.
They want to know if they
By
can join
default, there
ombuds.
can be 6. Yeah, thank you.
Oh.
You're good. Okay.
Okay, we're good. Good. So, and again, part of the report included, so we are, the COSA is working on creating a staff council that would parallel faculty council. Thank you very much, Karan. Committee of Students, still John, do you have a report?
We're having right after.
Right, so, and this room is open for you to use after the meeting. Great, thank you, Sojan. Committee on Elections, there's no work right now, and we need a chair for that committee, and so we'll.
And we need people.
And both the chair, does the biggest committee need is the committee that makes sure we have senators. The elections committee that oversees and handles, coordinates the elections that happen. The work happens in the fall, but in ramping up to that. So
And the students can attest to the difficulties.
the students can
A lot of
attest.
people on that committee, I made a lot of mistakes, I take responsibility for those mistakes, but it just happens.
Yes, we need more people working on elections. Transfer committee, I got an email about the transfer committee. Let me see what it says. All right. I am reading to you an email I have not read yet. This is from Misan Doko, who is co-chair along with Lexi Duke. I don't know how to say her last name. They're co-chairs of the Senate's transfer committee. They want to report that the Senate's transfer committee is taking its cue from the University Faculty Senate in its approach to working with administration to facilitate transfer initiatives across the university. So there's a lot of work happening through the UFS around transfer. And we're talking about students transferring, especially from community college, two-year colleges to four-year colleges, but also transferring outside of community, just transfer in general. It is the transferring out after you've attended LaGuardia that is, that this committee focuses on. She says, to this end, we're continuing to have conversations about how to broach the subject of transfer with faculty, given that it's become a contentious topic at the college. The benefit of the Senate Transfer Committee as opposed to the Transfer Council, and there's a new Transfer Council, I know you've heard, that is really trying to look at the issue of transfer at LaGuardia and how it's handled. The benefit of the Senate Transfer Committee is that our committee is made up mostly of faculty. Our faculty-driven conversations are leading us toward imagining what kinds of information about transfer faculty might be most receptive to. What faculty, so looking at faculty concerns about students transferred. We expect to share these findings with the Senate and the Transfer Council as we come closer to an answer. I hope that makes sense. All right. So this is from Nissan Doko, D-O-K-K-O, who is co-chair along with Lexi, I don't know, their last name, of the Senate's Transfer Committee.
So we should send, faculty should send concerns to the committee.
You can contact Nissan, and she serves also on the new transfer council that is just looking at the issue currently as a temporary committee, but the Senate committee is now a permanent committee of the Senate. So contact Nissan or Alexa. And if you ever want to know who the chairs of the committee are, I'm working really hard to keep them up to date on the Senate website. And right now, they currently are. If you see anything that's wrong, let me know. But you can find the names of the co-chairs of the transfer committee on the Senate website. All right, I skipped executive committee, but because you heard my chair's report. Food Insecurity, Justice and Community Need Committee. Rebecca, do you have a report?
No report.
Okay, thank you. Then the ad hoc committees of the Senate IT Advisory Committee. We don't have either co-chair of the IT Advisory Committee. I'm going to say, though, there's two big things coming up related to IT at the college. One is the transition from Blackboard to Brightspace, which will happen, I think it will fully fall of 25, but the process will begin. You students, you won't be here hopefully then, you'll be moved on already, but but all the faculty are going, what? Yeah, that is under, so we are in the last cohort of CUNY colleges to make that transition. So it is already much closer for other CUNY colleges. There's like 3 phases of it, and we are in the last phase, which means the others can work out the problems before we have to. The other transition related to IT is the going away of C2C and that and SEMS and the emergence of, I forget what it's called. You know, no, you don't know, but it's a new system.
EAB Navigate.
EAB Navigate, thank you, Rochelle. And the members of the IT Advisory Committee are working on that transition along with the leadership of the college. So that'll be fun, right? That will come first and should be in effect in the fall, I believe. And then Brightspace later. Alexa?
So what is someone who C2C?
EAB Navigate, which is all the CUNY 4 years have had it, and they've now just made it available to the CUNY 2 years. We have LaGuardia has many of its own developed internal systems, and CUNY does not like that. So they don't want us to all do our own thing. So EAB Navigate is going to step in. That was not officially the IT advisory report, but I know what's going on. Yes.
And I just have a quick question. The CUNY First, I know they're making changes to CUNY First with staff and HR or something. I've been told that CUNY First is going away.
Not CUNY First. I haven't heard. I don't think.
I've been told that they're moving to a new platform.
So that would be C2C and SEMS.
This is for like employees, and staff, I would call it. That's a new thing is coming in for CUNY First and they're rolling it out. And
I have not heard anything about that. Anybody else heard it? So I don't think that is correct. Bill.
Just a quick, since you're on the topic of IT updates, my office will be sending out notifications to all of our faculty members and chairs. Just to let you know that the web attendance, not web attendance, sorry, the web grading, submission change in grade. That system will see the facelift is moving away, is on the same topic of moving away from SENS. So previously it was on SENS, it's moving to a different system. The look and feel will be different, but essentially the functionality will be the same. It will have a little bit more information than the past system did. But generally for faculty using it to submit grade changes, those changes will remain the same. The link you click on will also remain the same. So the same way you access grade change submissions will be in that link. So when you click on it as of December 1st, when you click on it, it'll go to the new system, and instead of going to the old SENS.
So, and it will, the new EAB navigator system will, and for students, you won't, I don't know how much it will look different, but it will be the way you make appointments with advisors or with financial aid, or it's that kind of system that helps students connect with the different people that they need to reach out to. So that's going to be part of the new system. So, and I see that Ian McDermott has joined us. Ian, we were talking about IT advisory committee stuff. I don't know if you can hear us. Do you have a report?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I have a brief report. I don't want to, sorry, whatever, I've been running around taking my kid places. But here I am. Yeah.
Let me just say, I already mentioned the eventual transition to Brightspace, and I mentioned the transition to EAB Navigate, but feel free that it's coming, but feel free to add anything else you want to say and or to elaborate more on those things.
Sure. Did you mention the potential shift with Brightspace that we were scheduled to be in wave 3 and now we are lobbying to be in wave 4 as far as Brightspace rollout goes?
No, I did not mention that. So I thought we were in wave 4. We are. We are.
Okay. So it's official. It was all but official at the meeting earlier this month, and so now I guess it is official. Okay, so that's good to know. Just so everyone knows, then that is an official shift.
Okay, sounds good.
And then just to give a tiny bit of detail, that gives us the opportunity to transition for spring of 25, so that people aren't forced to make that transition to Brightspace going into fall of 24, which would be a much kind of harder moment with people coming back from summer break.
Great.
And it also gives us more time to see how the rest of CUNY is weathering this transition.
Sounds good. All right. Anything else?
I think that is it. We have, I can share it in the chat. There's a link to a training video for anybody who is starting to use Academos, the new online bookstore that's basically, taking the place of a college bookstore. So I'll drop that in the chat, but that's the only other thing that's kind of pressing that I wanted to make sure people know about heading into fall 2 and spring 1.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Ian. For those of you in the room, you'll be able to see it in the chat, but you won't be able to click on it. Those are at home can. But if you carefully copy it all down, or if you want me to email it to you, I can do that. All right.
Just take a picture of the screen. I'm sure you'll be able to see it.
Yes, sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Online Learning Committee. Nothing to report. Thank you, Sandra. Senate Assessment and Review Committee. No report. No report. Advising Council is still on our agenda. You have
The Students Advisory Council is a group of advisors and faculty, just different people involved in advisory. It's a way to communicate and streamline things. It's not a policy created body, and we're at a point now where we're considering how to improve communication and collaboration between advisors, faculty, what kind of professional development is needed, and how to create advisory material. So we were meeting every other week. We might not. We might create a small group. So we'll have to wait till next year to make sure that happens.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah. That is the last of the committee reports. There is no unfinished business. But next on the agenda is new business, which we always run out of time for, but we have time for it today.
So,
Yes.
why I'm talking about this is I had watched the advisory council. My concern that it was, I'm there as a governance person, but policies are already decided by the time they get to the council. And so, they heard that, they're talking about like where, Senate can have the most impact. In the meantime,
Thank you. Thank you for being there and standing there for Senate. And it's a good question. It's where decisions get made and at what level and what is Senate's role in those decisions. Thomas.
I don't want to ask, but can I ask a question to the Budget and Finance Committee? Because I'm just, that 5% for students, is that per college, or is it going to be divvied up to say, community college will get this much of the budget, but senior college, so it's 5% for each college? Okay. And the other, just advice I have to the cafeterias, do we still have that 10,000 small business incubator thing?
Yeah.
Because maybe we can work with them to bring in local businesses that might want to start up in food service. And maybe some schools have also different areas, like, you might say this one food vendor, like, McDonald's, or I'm not saying to do that, but like, oh, there's a Burger King kiosk here. And maybe we can reach out with the 10,000 business startup and somehow help these small businesses who want to do local, more cultural foods, use our space and rent it from us, so we can bring that part of the community to LaGuardia as well.
Hold on just a minute, Erica, you'll respond, but I wanted, in the chat, I just want to point out, Rochelle has mentioned that the Academos contact information for training is in the campus update, which should have just come out, and make sure you're reading your campus update. You don't read every word, but look at everything that's there so that you know what's going on about every Wednesday. There is a student one that students should read also. Erica.
Thomas, I just want to share that I work with the 10,000 small businesses program, and I'll be happy to take that suggestion to our executive director.
Because I think it'd be great to have like local businesses, cultural community you want to try versus, just a larger food vendor.
I don't, yeah, I was just gonna say, because I think it's definitely something that we can explore. It's an RFP regardless, and it might be just simply as adding them to it.
All right, so are there items of new business that you would recommend Senate take up? Announcements will be next. This is your responsibility, or no, your opportunity as a senator is to bring concerns to the Senate as items of new business that we can address. You also can bring them to your constituency committee. So the Committee of Staff and Alumni, the Committee of Students, is a place to talk about concerns. Decide together then if you want to bring it to the full Senate or how you want to address it. Let me remind you, I had a note that I forgot. If you are Committee of Faculty, Committee of Students, and Committee of Staff and Alumni, all of you should be working on a wish list. What would you like your committee to take up this year? And we are already at our last meeting of 2024, but we are not halfway through this. Thank you. Oops. We are not halfway. I'm already ramping up for the new year. We are not halfway through the Senate year, right? Because the Senate year continues through June. The June meeting for students. Rebecca helpfully put the next few meeting dates in the chat up there. But for non-students, our Senate continues into September. We do take the summer off, but so there is a lot of time left in which we should be thinking about what we want to undertake as constituency committees. So hearing no new business, and I will try in future meetings to allow time for it, as you get used to hearing the opportunity, you can be thinking about it. I'm moving on to announcements. Evelyn, announcement.
So I'm not sure if this is the place, but I think definitely the place because so many of us here. to events and, basically book events through the events department. There is a new system that we're being mandated, which is first off, has been used by ACE, it's being used by the registrar's office. That will be coming into place, so some of you may already know that we haven't been taking any reservations for new events since November 18th. We are hoping to be rolling this out, towards the end of this year. We want to start with maybe a pilot, so we can find out the kids. So we'll take 5 different departments who want to volunteer to be our experimental phase zero. This way, so there will be a notice coming out to the college community, but we do want to do some training, so we'll do that as well. I think we'll probably be moving towards the training after we do our phase, I think. So we hope to do that by the end of this fiscal year, so that January we start fresh.
Great. Thank you.
If you're interested, just email.
What's the name of the new system?
It's Forest Dog. It's actually being used by ACE, and it's being used by the registrar's office, and it's being used by a lot of the other campuses. We are probably somewhere in the middle of being.
All right.
Events requests.
Events request.
So normally you would email Margaret, event scheduling. Now, a lot of the stuff that Margaret and I will do is going to be on the user end. So I think.
Okay. Sounds good. There's an announcement in the chat for Rochelle, President of the Faculty Council. Reminder that Faculty Council's auction and plant sale to raise money for student scholarships will be held this year, Wednesday, December 6th at 3:30 in the E-Building atrium as part of the President's Holiday Reception. So look forward to that, staff and faculty. Any other announcements?
Does Rochelle know which color the Christmas cactus is gonna be? Like,
Which
'cause I
color
don't
is the Christmas cactus gonna be, Michelle? I can report that my Christmas cactus is alive from last year. It was looking iffy, really iffy. You know, am I underwatering it or over? Turns out I was underwatering it. It's a cactus. So it's living. It doesn't have flowers, but it's not dead. So Ian's is alive too. There we go. I'm not buying another one. It's been so stressful. Oh, I am. I look at Dion's. I am ashamed that mine has not seen a flower since I brought it
It's
home.
beautiful.
Really. All right, then, Jill, yes.
When we be asked to donate this year, like the auction, is there?
Oh, you can donate any items that we can auction off. You can donate gift cards. You can just make a monetary donation. You can come in and bid on stuff. There's so many ways. You can bring a baked good for people to bid on. All and everything that we think people will be interested in.
Jill donates honey, and it's lovely.
How do we bring the donations? We just bring it.
Actually, I guess we're desperate. So at this point, you can just bring it. But, Tara has been circulating email where she actually has a form to fill out, and she kind of gets a sense of who's bringing what. And then we make plans to meet up with you if you need to bring them in before or something along those lines. I'll have her send it out one more time.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rochelle.
Can I make one last thing?
Yes.
The LaGuardia Performance Center is having its year Nutcracker this December 17th, and we're also having story time for children. So we hope that you bring your children. The children part is free, but of course, the Nutcracker tickets are for sale, but a very discounted price. So I really hope to see a lot of it. It's a very fun event.
Yeah, the holidays. Sounds good. All right, then. Adjournment. I don't need a motion. No, meeting is adjourned. How's that? Thank you all. If you are having a constituency meeting, committee of faculty is meeting, are we going to meet now and not at 4:00? We're done about 20 minutes earlier than usual. So just so you know, students are meeting now in this room. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's-
I know, right? I know, it's like.
Very good, thank you.
I know, it's super.
Thank you for, thank you, Leslie.
It's so funny. That's why you're funny. I thought you were part of that.
Sure. So